So what do you think about people saying, "Oh, it's too late. I shouldn't start a podcast. I've already missed the boat."
Well, you kind of answered part of that, right? I mean, look at other media, right? Look at blogs, look at social media accounts, that sort of thing. I mean, there are just millions and millions of YouTube channels, right? So podcasts are a lot less crowded. And I'd say even that 3 million number is really high. If you look at the number of active podcasts that have published in the last month, it's in the hundreds of thousands, not the millions, right? So the number is much smaller. Now, what is a challenge for people is that discoverability takes time in podcasting. Whereas you might write a blog post and maybe it gets bumped up on Reddit, or Google really likes what you have to say and a lot of people are searching for it. And you can all of a sudden get a lot of traffic. Podcasting is a more intimate media, right? You're asking for someone to listen for 30, 40, 50 minutes. And they're not just going to find you through Google and some of these other search engines, mediums, media, that sort of thing. And so it can take time. And so I tell people that I don't think it's oversaturated, but you do need to come in with the right expectations and the right goals as a podcaster. And so a lot of people start a podcast thinking they're going to be the next Joe Rogan, they're going to sell all these ads, that sort of thing. And the odds of that happening I think are very slim. In fact, I think selling ads is probably the least likely to succeed reason to start a podcast, right?
Yeah.
I think there are other benefits to it that you should consider. So for example, I know Josh Ellich has a podcast, right? And each of those podcast interviews, he has the opportunity to talk to someone who will also learn about him and become part of his network. And shoot, maybe they'll become a client someday, but they might also say when they're talking to someone else who's like, hey, I'm trying to find someone to help me, grow my business and make me into a thought leader. I might say, oh, well, what about Josh?
Yeah.
Right? You should talk to this guy, Josh, that I know. So that's a benefit. Of course, everyone listening to your show, you're reinforcing your brand here, the RSS.com brand. In your case, having people on and educating them about how to get the most out of their podcast, hopefully keeps them podcasting, right? And so that helps them remain a customer for you, right? So you're not necessarily maybe you're getting some new customers who listen to this podcast, but you're also retaining your existing customers by giving them good content and value add, if you will. I often tell people that are podcasting companies like yours, like, hey, why don't we do something where I help your people get guests for their shows, because then it's easier for them to keep podcasting, right? And so some of these relationships you make from these interviews can be really valuable as well.